This week on TGC News, Smith and Ruger both bump mag capacities, Taurus goes optic ready, and a 3D printed plastic silencer that might not suck. Let's go. TacPack is a monthly gearbox that knows what you need and want, and they're always mixing things up. One month you could be met with gun parts or cleaning gear, and the next you may end up with survival gear that you didn't know you needed. Not only that, but the stuff inside comes from brands you already know and love. TacPack covers all the bases, and if you use our code TGCBAG over at TacPack.com, you'll get a free grab bag that ships separately when you place your first order. Welcome back to another episode of TGC News, the only gun news show that covers things you actually care about. My name is John Patton. If you guys like my shirt, and I hope you do, check the link in the description to get your own. Now, how about some news? First up this week, Dueling double stack 9s. Ever since the P365 hit the market, it seems like everyone has been playing catch up, trying to find ways to increase capacity in their sort of concealed carry CCW type pistol. SIG has the 365, Springfield has the Hellcat, and now both Smith & Wesson and Ruger have new choices in this category. Let's start with the Smith & Wesson. It's called the Mk9 Shield PLus. And the list of changes from the other shields in the line are pretty minimal. There is a new grip texture, which appears to be more of a tame version of the 2.0 texture, and there is a new flat face trigger, which to me is super exciting. The hinge triggers on most of the M&Ps are not great, so I'm hopeful that this will be way better. Not only that, but the gun now holds 13 rounds in the magazine, which is up from the previous top end of 8. That is, of course, in the extended magazine. The flush fit mag holds 10, which is up from the previous 7 rounds. They've done this by making the mag slightly wider and staggering the rounds in the magazine. Honestly, I have no idea why it took this long, but I'll absolutely take it. There are multiple versions of the gun as well. Of course, the standard model with white dot sights, that has an MSRP of $553. Then going up to the higher end Performance Center versions, there is a ported version with a slightly longer barrel as well as fiber optic sights and optic mounting. That one goes for an MSRP of $925. There are a couple in between, but I'm not going to bore you with the minutia of it all. Considering this new version is only $60 more than the previous versions of the Shield, it could very well render the old versions null and void. Side note, I have one of these in hand. If you've been following on social, you may have seen that. And we should have our review on that gun out later this week, so stay tuned. Now, how does that Ruger stack up? It's called the Max9, and it looks fairly promising. At first glance, it's kind of a blend between the LC9 and the larger Security 9. The capacity tops out at 12 rounds in the mag, and instead of having a base model, Ruger has decided that all of the models of the Max9 will get tritium fiber optic front sights, a rear sight for co-witnessing a red dot, and yes, red dot optic mounting. The MSRP for all that, $499, $499. Really, as per usual, good value with Ruger. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really hope that trigger looks like an LC9 trigger. I really hope on this thing, it's not as bad as the LCP or LC9 triggers. However, if that's the only issue, this could be a great gun overall. To me, it's awesome to see more companies increasing the capacity in their small carry guns. I think that's wonderful. It's a shame it took this long, but hey, we'll take what we can get these days, I guess, right? Sure. I want to know what you guys think. Would you prefer the Ruger or the Smith & Wesson in this case? And would you take either of those over the Springfield or the SIG? Sound off in the comment section below, and let's talk about it. How about some rapid fire news? Izzy, fire it up. First off, CMMG has relaunched their Mk9, which is a PCC-style gun that uses old-school 32-round Colt SMG magazines. They've updated it to use their super slick radial delayed blowback system. That's done by changing the feed ramp and some other internal parts, and of course, throwing on one of their radial delayed uppers. MSRP ranges from $1,100 on the stripped down Banshee pistol up to $1,700 for the top of the line rifle version using those Colt Max. That's neat. Moving on from there, a company called Invictus Arms has a 9mm finally ready for production that they originally announced 2 years ago. Yeah. You may be familiar with the name, as they are a company that tried and failed to resurrect a semi-auto variant of the AA-12. Thanks for that, ATF. This new 9mm is called the TAC-9, like Tech 9, yeah, intentionally, and it's a modernized take on a tube gun. It's like the upper is a tube. It takes Glock mags, AR-15 triggers, and has a side-charging upper, and because it's using a non-AR style action, they can get away with a pick rail on the back for a side-folding brace or stock. It reminds me a lot of some of the older submachine guns that came in with like stamped receivers, but this is perhaps a nicer version of that. MSRP is $750. Next up, Taurus has added something not so unique to the G3 and G3C pistols. It's called TORO, which stands for Taurus Optic Ready Option. And as far as I know, this is the first ever slide riding optic mounting system from them. It's pretty straightforward and adds about $100 to the overall price, bringing the MSRP to a still low $408. I may be wrong. I may be wrong about this. You guys can tell me in the comments, but I believe that might be the most affordable optic ready gun on the market right now. I don't know. It's close. If it's not there, it's really close. And rounding us out is a suppressor that comes with some hefty claims, I guess. We'll call them claims. It's called the Mute, and it comes in 3 versions, a rimfire 22 version, a 9mm version, and a 5.56 version. It uses a sort of out and around flow path, out and around, sort of like the OSS, and using a material called D28 claims to not only do the normal suppressor stuff like reducing sound, blowback, and recoil, but it also claims to regulate heat a lot better than standard metal cans. That's interesting. I say that because according to the Mute website, D28 is a fancy composite material designed to withstand extreme temperature variations, impact, and abrasion. Interesting. Combine that with the sort of 3D printing, and you've got a really interesting suppressor on your hands. On top of that, the price is really appealing for that type of tech. The rimfire version has an MSRP of $400. The 9 goes for $550, and the 5.56 for $650. Compare that to the OSS stuff with a somewhat similar gas management system, and you're looking at a price difference of between $50 and $300, depending on the model, more for OSS stuff. If and only if the Mute holds up over time, that could be a big step forward for the silencer industry. Like using plastic for that? That's crazy. Sylvan Arms makes parts for your gun right here in the USA, whether you're looking for a side-folding adapter, or maybe a flared magwell, or maybe something to shoot 9 out of your standard AR lower. They've got you covered. Sylvan Arms is an affordable alternative to many popular parts on the market right now, and to make it more affordable, use our code TGC10 over at sylvanarms.com to get 10% off your entire order. How about some gundustry news? The Nssf has released their annual Firearms Industry Economic Impact Report, and it's pretty interesting, so let's cover the highlights. We'll start with some state-level stuff. If we're looking at the totals in jobs, economic output, and excise taxes generated, Texas, California, and Florida take the top 3 spots. Not super surprising. Texas, in particular, generated over $4.6 billion alone. If we are looking at growth, you know, that's a good thing. It's a really important factor. We have Wyoming at the top of economic growth, and Vermont growing the most in both jobs and excise taxes generated. Speaking of taxes, the industry generates almost $7 billion in combined state and federal taxes, with another $663 million in excise taxes. I guess yay for legalized government theft, right? Ugh. If we break down the economic impact into categories, we have the direct stuff, then the suppliers, and then the induced, which is sort of suppliers of the suppliers and things like that, trickle-down stuff. The direct impact was $25.5 billion, and the supplier impact was 18 billion, and somehow the induced impact was higher at almost 20 billion. That gives us a total of almost $63.5 billion in economic impact generated from the firearms industry. That is substantial. If we look at how things are trending since 2008, we've grown about 232%. In 13 years, we've gone from 19.1 billion all the way up to the current over 63 billion in impact. That is incredible. There are a ton more stats in the report. I just really wanted to hit the highlights. That will be linked below if you guys want to go in there and dig. All in all, I think it's very interesting to see this massive growth over the years sort of laid out before us. Coming off the biggest year ever in the gun industry, I am really, really interested to see where this trend leads. Is it all upwards from here? Maybe on your screen it's this way. It's like a dance move. It's weird. Sound off below, and let's talk about what you guys think is happening in the gun industry in 2021. If you guys enjoyed the show and you want to see an ad-free version, no promos, nothing, check us out on floatplane.com, and after you click the like button on this video, be sure to hit the secret affiliate link in the description. That would be a massive help for us, and of course, don't forget to get subscribed for more gun news every single week, and as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. Yep, it's over, but don't worry, you can click on the video up top to watch last week's show, and the one below that is the one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Check them out and let me know what you think.